Estimating the cost of electrical work involves careful consideration of materials, labor, and other potential expenses. Let's analyze a sample project involving basement electrical work to understand the factors influencing a reasonable estimate. The project includes adding 4 electrical receptacles to correct wall spacing, adding one 15-amp circuit into a subpanel in the basement, installing 16 2x2 2-lamp lay-in fixtures, running approximately 350 feet of 14mm 2 Romex wire, installing a 2-gang cut-in box, installing 2 single-pole white switches, installing a 2-gang switch plate, and relocating a smoke detector to a new ceiling location. We can start by itemizing the material costs. Firstly, for the 4 electrical receptacles, a cost of $20 is reasonable. Secondly, a 15-amp circuit breaker may cost around $10. Thirdly, 16 2x2 2-lamp lay-in fixtures could amount to $160. Fourthly, 350 feet of 40mm 2 Romex wire may cost approximately $70. Fifthly, a 2-gang cut-in box could be around $5. Sixthly, 2 single-pole white switches might cost about $10. Seventhly, a 2-gang switch plate could be approximately $2. Now, let's consider the labor costs involved in this project. Firstly, adding the 4 receptacles might take about 2 hours, and at a rate of $75 per hour, the cost would be $150. Secondly, adding 1 circuit into the subpanel could also take around 2 hours, resulting in a labor cost of $150 at the same hourly rate. Thirdly, installing the 16 lay-in fixtures could take approximately 4 hours, costing $300 for labor. Fourthly, running the 350 feet of Romex wire could take about 6 hours, amounting to $450 in labor costs. Fifthly, installing the 2-gang cut-in box and switches might take 1 hour, costing $75 for labor. Sixthly, relocating the smoke detector could also take 1 hour, resulting in a labor cost of $75. In addition to materials and labor, other costs should be considered. Firstly, obtaining a permit, if required, could cost around $100. Secondly, adding a markup to cover overhead and profit is standard practice. A 15% markup on the total material and labor costs would add approximately $360 to the estimate. Summing up these costs, the total estimated cost for the project is $2,452. This estimate is close to the originally proposed $2,400. It's crucial to understand the components of an electrical estimate. Firstly, you have direct costs. This includes the cost of all materials needed for the job. Get specific with your materials list. Secondly, you have labor costs. Estimate the time it will take to complete each task and multiply that by your hourly rate. Thirdly, you must account for overhead expenses. This includes costs like insurance, vehicle maintenance, office supplies, and advertising. Fourthly, you include profit margin. This is the amount you want to earn on top of covering your expenses. Fifthly, you must account for permits and inspection fees. These fees vary depending on the location and the scope of the project. Several factors can influence the cost of an electrical estimate. Firstly, the complexity of the job will affect the time and labor required. Secondly, the cost of materials can fluctuate. Thirdly, local labor rates vary depending on the region. Fourthly, obtaining permits and complying with local codes can add to the cost. When assessing an electrical estimate, ensure it is comprehensive and detailed. Firstly, check that all materials are listed with specific quantities and prices. Secondly, verify that labor costs are clearly outlined with hourly rates and estimated hours. Thirdly, confirm that the estimate includes all necessary permits and fees. Fourthly, inquire about warranties or guarantees offered on the work. It is advisable to obtain multiple estimates from different contractors before making a decision. Firstly, this allows you to compare prices and services. Secondly, it helps you to identify any discrepancies or red flags in the estimates. Thirdly, it gives you a better understanding of the market rate for the project. Always choose a licensed and insured electrical contractor. Firstly, licensing ensures that the contractor has met the necessary qualifications and training. Secondly, insurance protects you from liability in case of accidents or damages during the project. Consider the following additional factors when preparing or evaluating an electrical estimate. Firstly, accessibility can impact the costs. Limited access to the work area can increase labor time. Secondly, the age of the existing wiring can affect the complexity of the job. Older wiring may require additional work to ensure compatibility and safety. Thirdly, unforeseen issues can arise during the project. It is essential to have a contingency plan to address unexpected problems. Fourthly, consider energy efficiency upgrades. Incorporating energy-efficient lighting or appliances can increase the initial cost but save money in the long run. Here are some potential cost-saving strategies for electrical projects. Firstly, obtain multiple quotes for materials to find the best prices. Secondly, consider using standard materials and fixtures to reduce costs. Thirdly, bundle multiple electrical projects together to potentially negotiate a lower overall price. Fourthly, explore available rebates or incentives for energy-efficient upgrades. Remember that a detailed and accurate estimate is crucial for a successful electrical project. By understanding the components of an estimate, the factors that influence cost, and potential cost-saving strategies, you can make informed decisions and ensure a fair price for the work. Some specific considerations for basement electrical work include ensuring proper grounding. Basements are often damp environments, so proper grounding is essential for safety. You should use ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI receptacles in all damp or wet locations. GFCI receptacles protect against electrical shock. You must comply with all local electrical codes. Codes vary by location, so it's important to be aware of the regulations in your area. You should consider future electrical needs. Plan for future electrical needs, such as additional outlets or circuits, to avoid costly upgrades later on. You should also properly label all circuits in the electrical panel. Labeling makes it easier to identify and troubleshoot circuits in the future. If the homeowner performs some of the initial wiring, it is crucial to have a licensed electrician thoroughly inspect the work to ensure it meets safety standards and code requirements. Uninspected or improperly installed wiring can pose significant safety hazards, including fire risks and electrical shock. A professional inspection can identify potential issues and ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. The inspection should cover several key areas. Firstly, the electrician should verify the wiring methods used, ensuring they comply with local electrical codes and are appropriate for the environment. Secondly, they should check the wire gauge and ampacity to ensure they are properly sized for the intended load. Thirdly, the connections and terminations should be inspected to ensure they are secure and properly made. Fourthly, the grounding system should be evaluated to ensure it is effective and provides adequate protection against electrical faults. Fifthly, the overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers, should be checked to ensure they are correctly sized and functioning properly. If any deficiencies are found during the inspection, it is important to address them promptly. This may involve correcting wiring errors, replacing faulty components, or upgrading the electrical system to meet current standards. Failure to address these issues can result in serious safety hazards and potential damage to property. In addition to the inspection, it is also important to ensure that the electrical system is properly documented. This includes creating an accurate electrical panel schedule that identifies the circuits and their corresponding loads. It also involves providing the homeowner with a copy of the inspection report and any recommendations for repairs or upgrades. Communication is key throughout the process. Maintain open communication with the homeowner to discuss the scope of work, potential issues, and any necessary changes to the estimate. This will help to ensure that the project is completed to their satisfaction and that they are fully aware of the costs involved. If the homeowner has already obtained an inspection, it is important to review the inspection report carefully to identify any outstanding issues or concerns. Address these issues in your estimate and discuss them with the homeowner to ensure they are resolved as part of the project. Ultimately, the goal is to provide a safe, reliable, and code-compliant electrical system for the basement. By paying close attention to detail, communicating effectively, and addressing any potential issues, you can ensure a successful project and a satisfied customer. When adding a new circuit to a subpanel, there are several key steps to follow to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. Firstly, you must verify the subpanel's capacity. Before adding a new circuit, ensure that the subpanel has sufficient capacity to handle the additional load. Check the panel's ampacity rating and the available breaker spaces. Secondly, you should select the appropriate breaker. Choose a circuit breaker with the correct amperage rating for the new circuit. The breaker must be compatible with the subpanel and properly sized for the wire gauge and connected load. Thirdly, you need to run the wiring. Run the appropriate gauge of Romex wire from the subpanel to the location of the new receptacles or lighting fixtures. Secure the wiring properly along its route, using staples or other approved methods. Fourthly, you connect the wiring to the breaker. Connect the black wire to the breaker, the white wire to the neutral bus bar, and the bare copper wire to the ground bus bar. Ensure all connections are tight and secure. Fifthly, you install the breaker. Install the breaker into the designated space in the subpanel. Make sure it is firmly seated and properly connected to the bus bar. Sixthly, you need to identify and label the circuit. Clearly label the new circuit in the subpanel directory to identify the areas or devices it serves. This helps with future troubleshooting and maintenance. Seventhly, you should test the circuit. After completing the installation, test the circuit to ensure it is functioning properly. Use a circuit tester to verify that the receptacles are wired correctly and that the breaker trips when overloaded. Remember to always disconnect power to the subpanel before working on the electrical system. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to perform the work. When installing lay and lighting fixtures, there are specific considerations to keep in mind for safety and code compliance. Firstly, you should select the right fixture type. Choose lay-in fixtures that are appropriate for the intended use and environment. Ensure they are UL listed and meet all applicable safety standards. Secondly, you must support the fixtures properly. Support the fixture securely to the ceiling grid using appropriate hangers or clips. Ensure the fixtures are level and properly aligned. Thirdly, you should connect the wiring correctly. Connect the wiring to the fixtures according to the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes. Use appropriate wire connectors and ensure all connections are tight and secure. Fourthly, you must ground the fixtures. Ground the fixtures properly to the building's grounding system. This helps to prevent electrical shock. Fifthly, you must comply with the NEC. Comply with all applicable requirements of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, regarding the installation of lighting fixtures. This includes clearances, wiring methods, and overcurrent protection. Sixthly, you should inspect the installation. After completing the installation, inspect the fixtures to ensure they are functioning properly and that all connections are secure. Verify that the fixtures are level and properly aligned. When relocating a smoke detector, there are important safety guidelines to follow. Firstly, you must choose the right location. Select a new location that is in accordance with local fire codes and the manufacturer's recommendations. Smoke detectors should be installed on each level of the home and in sleeping areas. Secondly, you should disconnect the power. Disconnect the power to the smoke detector before removing it from its original location. Thirdly, you must test the detector. Test the smoke detector after relocating it to ensure it is functioning properly. Press the test button and listen for the alarm. Fourthly, you should follow manufacturer's instructions. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation and maintenance of the smoke detector. By following these guidelines, you can ensure the safety and effectiveness of the smoke detection system. Always consult with a qualified electrician or fire safety professional if you have any questions or concerns.